5th grade. We're on Domain 6, the Reformation, Lesson 4, the Influence and Practices of the Church, a closer look. Our objectives for today are to reread portions of the informational text to analyze the author's words, phrases, and devices about the church's influence. We're going to review how to make subjects and linking verbs agree. We're going to practice distinguishing between root words and words with the EN. And we're going to replace weak verbs with strong verbs. We're going to go ahead and independently read. Feel free to pause the video at any time to read more thoroughly. Our word work for today is devout. Luther was a German monk and a devout Catholic. Devout means devoted, especially to a specific religion or point of view, and it is an adjective. So, subject linking verb agreement. So, in previous lessons, we've talked about the subject linking verb agreement in the present and past tense. Linking connects a subject to the predicate, so it does not have to show action. So, for example, the castles are large, the children are tired. Notice how are in these sentences is showing the verb, however, they do not show an action. Castles aren't actually doing anything. The children aren't actually doing anything. So there are a small number of other verbs that may function as linking verbs. And those forms are for the verb to be. Now, some verbs are associated with the 5 senses, such as feel, look, taste, smell, sound. They can actually act as linking verbs as well. I felt tired. You looked happy. Those are examples of feelings and emotions and senses being so felt and looked are examples of linking verbs that show how someone is feeling or using those senses. So when we're talking about the singular pronoun I, so when we're referring to I, the correct verb for the to be is am. I am sad. I am happy. That is the correct verb. But if the pronoun is he, she, or it, the correct verb is. So she is sad. He is there. Notice how I wouldn't say I is or he am. It doesn't sound right even when you say it in your own head. So make sure you're using the correct one. Now, if we're talking about all plural subjects and the singular pronoun you, you're going to use the form are. So far the ones that you're going to be using are am, is, and are. The present tense of the linking verbs to feel, to look, taste, smell, and sound are formed by adding the S to the end of the verb. Okay, so let's do some practice. So Jacques blank nervous about his first day of work at the printing shop. We want it for the past, and we want the correct linking verb to be to feel. The correct word for this would be, if my thing wants to work, there it goes, felt. Jacques felt nervous. For the present to smell, the ink smells. Notice how for the present all we did was add the S to the end of smell. During the Middle Ages, most people blank, not able to read or write. So we wouldn't say during the Middle Ages, most people to be not able to read and write. We want to talk about this in the past. So during the Middle Ages, most people were. So that's showing the past, and it's also, again, not showing an action. Now, remember the prefix N means to put into or to make. So we're going to do some practice about figuring out what is the correct word. So building a highway through the valley might ruin the habitat of the animals that live there. Is that danger or endanger? That's to endanger, to put into danger. Closed or enclosed? Grandma shut the jewelry box after showing us her valuable necklaces. That is closed. She closed the box. Able or unable? Jingy's younger brother knows how to read now. He is able to read now. Enlighten or enliven? Rise learned something new about the earth after reading a book she borrowed from the library. She was enlightened. Enlightened, she brought to the light. So we're going to figure out how to choose strong verbs to improve our writing. So strong verbs are not only to describe an action, they can express emotion, feeling, nature, and the strength is determined about how it depicts that emotion or attitude. So if you said to someone, I am so excited about, or I am excited about recess, then the person doesn't know exactly how he has said it. But if you say, John exclaimed, so that exclaimed is showing how that person is feeling. I'm excited about recess. Then the person shows precisely how they feel. So as I said this, John said, I'm excited about recess. If I read it as John said, my thought, this is how I feel he sounds. I am excited about recess. Notice how that's kind of contradicting of what the actual sentence is. But by adding the exclaimed, John exclaimed, I know that there's happiness in his voice. I am excited about recess. I can picture that he has an excitement. That shows a stronger verb. So exclaim, scream, and whisper are all strong verbs then instead of saying said. Sally said, I hate this. Or we can say Sally screamed, oh, I hate this. Notice how adding that changed the dynamic of that sentence and showed a stronger verb. So when you write, we're trying to capture the reader's attention and be very precise of what they're doing. And by doing that, we can strengthen our writing with our stronger verbs. So when you're writing, start to think about how you can change words to be more forceful, more understanding, and more precise. So let's do a practice. The student walked into the room. Okay, there's a billion ways someone can walk into a room. Someone can run in and skip into the room. They could trudge, they could wander, they can roam. There's so many other words. Walked is not to say a walked isn't a verb. It's just not a very strong one. It's very simple, but being more creative and thinking of the specific way that person is walking into the room. Did they amble into the room? Did they use a limp when they walked into the room? Did they hop? Did they saunter? Those are ways of strengthening our verbs, and it makes it even more interesting for the reader to read. So that's what we're trying to practice when we're writing. Now that's the end of our lessons for today. I will see everyone in the next one.